MP for the last 13 years. I've lived in Luton for 41 years, and I've been active in the Labour Party since I was 16, which was in 1958. So I've been in politics a very long time, and all of that time I've campaigned against racism, against discrimination, and in favour of peace and equality.
I remember the incident last year when the soldiers were in Luton, the parade, and a lot of the Al-Muhajirun, they were protesting, and some of the slogans that they had been saying were very offensive to the soldiers and their families.
This group who demonstrated were a tiny minority of people who were not at all representative of Luton. I think it's rather a shame, because Luton, I think, is a friendly town and we all get on well with each other, and to have extremists of any sort giving a bad impression of Luton, I think is very regrettable.
But I think many felt that the mannerism of the protest, the way it was done, the placards and what they said and so on, was maybe offensive to some, and the language that was chosen was definitely not appropriate.
There has to be limits to freedom of speech. Correct, we all have a right to say what we have in our hearts and what we have in our minds. That goes without any issue. But we have to understand where we cause an offence which is not necessary.
I think they believe what they are, what they represent. I think they believe that it is the truth and it's right.
Community certainly came out very strongly against what was done by Al-Muhajirun on that day. There were a number of press releases by different Muslim organisations across the UK. It wasn't even just in Luton.
I think it's very important to point out, of course, the soldiers in democratic country like Britain do what politicians ask them to do. They don't make the decisions, it's the politicians. And if anybody wants to object to what's happened or what has been done, they should object to the politicians. And I certainly, as you may know, I voted against the war, was totally opposed to Tony Blair's decision to attack Iraq. I think it was a disaster. And many people now who supported the war at the time now regret they did so. If they listened to people like me, we would have not have gone to war.
Generally, the Muslims in Luton are quite upset and angered by the views and the slogans. They've made it so that it's almost like the views of the Muslims, all of the Muslims.
When you look at the media coverage, it's they're always looking for the story with the most spice, if you like. So good news is never going to sell papers. It's not going to sell. It's not going to be interesting to anyone. And when it comes to the Muslims, anything involving a Muslim, if it's something negative, it's got to be front page.
Well, the media likes trouble. Bad news is good for them. Saying Luton's a happy place where we all get on well is not news. One little incident like this, and of course it's news, but that's the media for.
We had another incident where there was something similar that took place, but the Muslim community actually surrounded the table where these people were and basically pretty much drove them out of that area. And that was Muslims standing up, and positively reacting to these situations. So from that perspective, I see, there have been some positives. I think more people need to get active. Certainly, whenever we see something, it should completely be, said exactly how it is. It should not be condoned. But I think that will only take place if more and more of us stand up.
Because of a minority of people with extreme views and extreme actions, there has been, some. But the interesting thing is the overwhelming majority of people don't have any strong feelings like this. I think the overwhelming majority of people want to get on with their lives. They know people, including friends who are Muslims from the Muslim community. I have many friends, of course, being in politics. But everybody knows some Muslim children, some Muslim workmates and so on. So I think they know that we're just, all of us are just ordinary people to get on with our lives.